Hi, hello, namaskara. Welcome back to Jeevashastra Abhyasa. I am your educator Niranjan Hegde. So first thing first, that is, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please click over here. You can subscribe to the channel and get more contents of the biology. So today's topic is structure of DNA proposed by Watson and Crick. It is also known as Watson and Crick double helix model. So let's start the video. Okay, DNA, right? DNA. What is DNA? Deoxyribose nucleic acid, right? So you can ask me how the name has came. Because of its peculiar ribose, deoxyribose sugar. Okay, the name came because of the deoxyribose sugar, and the acid is the phosphoric acid which is attached to the sugar molecule. So to clear this particular attachment and composition of nucleic acid and the nucleotides, you can check the video over here with the I button, and I will also put the link over my description. Okay. So next thing is, who proposed this double helix structure? That was Watson and Crick. Okay, Watson and Crick proposed the DNA double helix nature in 1953, and they have got the Nobel Award for this. This double helix structure is accepted throughout the world itself. Okay, so next thing I want to put a light over here is how the double helix model is. Okay, how the double helix model is formed. Okay, so double helix, so name itself suggests, right? Double helix, double double helix. So what is double helix model of DNA? So double, what is double? Double means two, right? Two. Helix means twisted. We can consider it as twisted. Okay, so double is what? Double is two nucleotide or polynucleotide sequence or strand. We can also call as strand. Polynucleotide sequence or strand of two double polynucleotide strands. So there is two nucleotide strands are there, and it is twisted, right? That means how you have to imagine that. So I will show you a simple diagram for that. So there is a ladder. You all know the ladder, right? Yeah. So ladder has the staircases like this. Okay. So if this is a flexible, if it is made up of flexible rubber or something, so let's take that polymer. Okay, any polymers. So if it gets twisted like this, okay, then how it looks? It looks like this, right? Somewhere like this, right? So with staircases. So this is the actual model of DNA. Okay, this is how the Watson and Crick has given us the model of DNA. Okay, so now a particular question may arise in your mind, that is, so how this polynucleotide sequence is made up of? So the answer for your question is that the arrangement of polynucleotide strand takes place like this. So for example, if I'll tell you, if adenine comes, okay, the nucleotide sequence with the adenine as a nitrogen base, if it comes in the first place, so then there will be definitely, it is its next thing, it should be a thymine or cytosine, because first, so as the rule, purine, if purine comes in the first place, then there should be a pyrimidine. Pyrimidine will definitely come. So like this itself the chain continues. Okay, like this itself the chain continues. So mainly So this chain can go up to a several chains of nucleotides. So then it is called as polynucleotide chain. So the polynucleotide chain is bonded with the phosphodiester bond. It is with the phosphodiester bond. So the color of the pen is red, and I'm also wearing the red color t-shirt, which should encourage you people to hit the subscribe button and change into the color of the subscribe button into this. Okay, I think it was the baddest transition. Like I was trying to transitions like TikTokers. Sorry. So the color of the subscribe button becomes gray, right? Yeah, okay, fine. So jokes apart, and we will move to the topic. Yeah, so the adenine and a purine and a pyrimidine definitely is going to bond with the phosphodiester bond, and there will be a length, bigger chain will be that. So this is how the polynucleotide chain is formed. Okay, this is how the polynucleotide chain is formed in a single polynucleotide chain. So like that, the complementary chain is going to be again same with that only is going to formed, but here one complementary chain means always A binds with what? A pyrimidine T, right? So that type of anti-parallel chain is going to be given birth there. So that will combine, and there will be formation of this particular double helix DNA. So DNA double strand, somewhat it looks like this, isn't it? Okay. So now you can say there are two staircases. You can see the ladders, but you cannot see the staircases. I'll come to that next point. I'll come to that in a few minutes. Okay. So first let's see the two polynucleotides strands are there, which is twisted in nature, right? Twisted in nature. So now the first character of this particular double helix model is, what is that? Okay. So let's start it. Each strand is going to start with 5' phosphate end and ends with 3' OH end. Okay. So then another strand starts with 3' OH end and ends with 5' phosphate end. So you can ask, or a question comes here, how this particular thing is going to happen. So this is because of the attachment of phosphoric acid, or you can say the formation of phosphodiester bonds leads to this type of formation of helix model. Okay, this is only because of the phosphodiester bond. Now you can see here as it is a 5' end and it is a 3' end. That means the two polynucleotide strands are running anti-parallelly. So easily you can, so this is running from 5' to 3' end, right? 5' to 3' end, and this is running 5' to 3'. So that means 3' to 5' it is running. So it starts with 5' and it ends with 3', or it starts with, second strand starts with 3' and ends with 5'. So that means it is running anti-parallelly. Okay, this is the first very important character. So let's move to the next. So I have covered here, actually I have covered here two very important characters. So one is the ends and the beginning and the end of the polynucleotide strand, and another one is how it runs, so anti-parallelly, right? Now the next thing is, so whenever this anti-parallel, so you all know that there is a particular rule in every DNA, that is Ervin-Chargaff's rule of base equivalence, that has been put out here in this Watson and Crick model of DNA. So that's Ervin-Chargaff's rule of base equivalence says that always in a DNA, purine is equals to, I'll write over here, you can easily understand, always purine is equals to pyrimidine, that is like this, right? Okay, and always the ratio of purines and pyrimidines together, they will be constant. That means A plus T divided by G plus C is always equals to 1. That also means that so adenine is always equals to thymine. That means total number of adenine present in a particular polynucleotide strand is always equals to thymine, as that of guanine and cytosine also follows that rules itself. So this was found by Erwin Chargaff in 1950. Okay, so this particular rule also has been applied over here, and he also said that particular Chargaff, that always adenine is complementary to the thymine. So that you can see over here. Okay, so now we are coming to that particular point. So let's consider one turn of the DNA. So what is one turn? You can ask me, what is one turn of the DNA? One turn of DNA. So one turn of the DNA means the unequal figure 8. Okay, let's say that unequal figure 8. So if we consider an unequal figure 8, so that is also known as one turn of DNA. We can consider like that. Okay, so if we take one turn of the DNA, so let's consider here this one. Okay, the one turn of the DNA contains approximately a 10 base pairs. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So approximately it contains 10 base pairs. Now the question comes again, another question, that is base pairs, right? Base pairs. So what are base pairs? So I'll write it over here itself. You can see base pairs. What are base pairs? Base pairs are the things that is the bond between two nitrogen bases. One is adenine, another one is thymine. So one is purine, or you can also say purine and pyrimine. When they comes bonds between them, there will be, if there is a formation of bond between them, then it is known as, it will be called as base pairs. So what is that bond which is formed in between them? Let's see here itself. So adenine forms a double bond of hydrogen between thymine, and guanine forms a triple bond between cytosine. Okay, so there will be triple bond of hydrogen between guanine and cytosine, and a double bond of hydrogen between adenine and thymine. Okay, so let's move to here. So that now it forms a staircase, right? Yeah, so nitrogen bases are now, they are complementary to each other and they have formed a bond between them. That is the third point, remember it. Now the fourth point, there will be 10 base pairs will be there in the one particular turn. Okay, that base pairs has a length of, this particular one turn of DNA has 10 base pairs approximately, and it is going to have a length of 34 angstrom unit. It will be having 34 angstrom unit. That means the distance between the two the distance between two nitrogen bases, this particular nitrogen bases, is 3.4 angstrom unit. So I will write it over, 3.4 angstrom unit, isn't it? Between the two nitrogen bases. Okay, next we will move to the fifth important character, that is the distance between the two polynucleotide strands, or you can also consider this as the distance between the, or the diameter of the nitrogen bases. Okay, of the nitrogen bases, or also you can consider the diameter between the two polynucleotide strands. That will be 20 angstrom unit. Okay, the distance between two polynucleotide strands, or the particularly the nitrogen bases diameter between them, that is 20 angstrom unit. Okay, next one, the sixth point. So that is sixth point, that is very important point. Okay, so one turn of the DNA, so as I told you before, the one turn of the DNA is also known as an irregular figure 8, right? Irregular structure of figure 8. Irregular structure means one is the lower side or the upper side, anyone you can consider. It is of what? It is of a bigger size and upper one is smaller here, right? You can vice versa, it can also be happen. So the DNA is of the same thing. So one in the one turn, so one groove, it is known as one groove. The both of the grooves are in different shapes or different sizes. There will be two grooves. So one groove, the bigger groove, is known as major groove. Okay, it is major groove is of 2.2 millimeter. Okay, and the minor groove, the lower you can see here, minor groove is of 1.2 millimeter. Okay, so this is the sixth important characters. Okay, the last character of this particular DNA helix, double helix model, which is proposed by Watson and Crick, is the right-handed helix. It is a right-handed helix. So the double-stranded DNA is having a right-handed helix. So which means what do you actually means it? So this means there will be here you can see the helix, means how they are coiled here, that is we are going to see. The coiling of the DNA is in the right-handed manner. So like this it is going to coil. So like in a right-handed way, so it is going to coil like this. So this was the last character so of the DNA double helix model. So here a clue, I have left a clue for you people. So that the clue is so the right-handed helix in double-stranded DNA. I am showing you right-handed helix in a double-stranded DNA. So double-stranded. So that means there are many types of DNAs are there. So that we are going to study in our next video. So if you want any of the clarifications, please comment in a comment below and I am going to give you the answer. If you like this video, please hit the like button and kill it. If you want to know more of this particular kind of educational videos, please subscribe to the channel, that is Jeevashastra Abhyasa. And if you want more updates, please follow me on Instagram and Facebook page, which is also in the name of Jeevashastra Abhyasa. I will definitely put my link of the Instagram and the Facebook page in my description. And also I am going to leave the link of the basics of nucleic acids, so in that video itself. So at last I want to say once again, please subscribe to the channel and watch more of the educational videos. Bye.